प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्.
In all cases, when it is the sattvika part of it, through that sattvika we are able to go to that transcendence where we are not touched by the whatever happening in our being, whatever karma we do, whatever action we do. To approach that transcendental level is always through the sattvika. This is the important point. Otherwise, you will not be able to link. These are all shlokas strewn around, it will appear like. Unless we understand how things are proceeding block by block. That earlier they were mostly spending on the desire part of it, sangha, etc. Now, how to get rid of it, that they will discuss. And in every case, to reach the transcendental level, we have to first attain the sattvika nature. That is sattvika sukha, sattvika jnana, sattvika buddhi, sattvika dhruti, and through that it easily takes us to the transcendental level. Why? Because primarily the sattvika nature means the unified vision. In all these cases, what is happening is the variety we are seeing. It's all infinite variety. But the whole variety is sustained, supported, or appearing in oneness. We have to reach that oneness. Now, by Rajasika tendencies to divide everything and see. Suppose we are seeing all differences, oh, this is my enemy, this is my friend, he is good, he is bad, I want to do this, I don't want to do that. These are all divisional Bheda Buddhi, we say. Normally, the differential things, the different things will create a Bheda Buddhi in us, differential notion. Until we discovered the Abheda in that Bheda, this trouble will not go. Just like the waves in the sea, they are all different. This wave is like this, that wave is like this. But they are all held by the no wave, absolutely still the depth of the sea. They are held by that. We have to get into that oneness which is holding all the differences. In Sanskrit we call this Bheda Darshana. Bheda Darshana means seeing things absolutely different. That Bheda will get transformed into just Vaichitra when they are supported by the Abheda Darshana. That means when that unified vision is there, then that Bhedas will not pain us anymore. We will be rid of the trouble. They will neither attract us nor repel us. We will see that in that Abheda Darshana lies the key. So that Abheda Darshana is the Sattvika property, is to always see the unified thing in the multiply divided things. And Tamasika, Rajasika is always divide and see, so it will not take us there. And Tamasika is still worse because it will hold, it sees divided and then holds on to something and thinks that that is the truth. See, it is still worse than Rajasika. Tamasika is a moha, it's a deluded. Something it will hold on to and will think that what am I thinking is the truth, what others saying are not true. All of us have these tendencies. It will be there. So our purpose is to see that all these elements, sukha, dhruti, buddhi, etc., whether they are getting transformed into sattvika or not. That is the sadhana. So for that we will change all our inputs into sattvika elements. Food we are taking with the mouth, the things we are thinking with the mind, the things we are seeing with the eyes, everything to the extent possible, we have to change them to sattvika nature. Then automatically our being will grow sattvika. As the being grows sattvika, we will prefer sattvika things, it will go further sattvika, like that it will work. Is it understandable? This is what we are going to do. The 12th verse I will do before I show the slides. Anishtamishtam mishram cha
अनिष्टमिष्टं मिश्रं च
trividha karmana phalam
त्रिविधं कर्मणः फलं
bhavatyatyāginām pretya
भवत्यत्यागिनां प्रेत्य
न tu sannyāsinām kvacit.
न तु सन्न्यासिनां क्वचित्.
He says that whatever the action is, there will be three kinds of result. One is ishta, means desired result. Anishta means undesired, reverse of desired result. And mishra means partly desired, partly undesired, that undesirable. That is mixture of the two. Now, this result is objectively it is so. Suppose I wanted to have the first rank in the exam. In the process I did not get the first rank, but I stood third or fourth. This is a mishram result. Whereas if I have failed, then that is the anishtam, undesirable result. But actually this is the objective result. What we are talking about here is the subjective result. So suppose the objective result is ishta, anishta or mishra, anything. Our mind should not get affected by that. That is, ishta bodha is in my mind. I am thinking that by getting the desirable result, I will have this, I will have that, etc. That linking to that. The two links are there. One is I will enjoy or I will suffer. Another is I. Egoistic, Kartri and Bhoktri Bhava. These two. So, internally when we delink from that, we will not be affected by that. That is why he says that bhavati atyaginam pretya. It is for those who have not done the tyaga. What tyaga? Karma phala tyaga. See, if it is objective result, then there is no question of for the tyagis, atyagis it is having, and for the sannyasin it is not having. Because it is internal, it is so. So we are not talking about the objective phala, which we cannot do anything. Whatever has happened has happened. But a person who has not renounced the karma phala, that means he is still linking his katri, bhoktri bhava with the result, whatever is resulting from his action. For him, he will suffer and he will enjoy accordingly with that whatever result is coming. Not only that, there is whereas the sannyasins will not. Sannyasin means who has renounced the ego, who has renounced the doership and enjoyship both. That is the real sannyasa he is speaking about. Now there is a word pretya, which has got two meanings. Normally pretya means after death. Preta has come from there. We do the preta karma and all. That is after death. Pretya means after dying. Another subtler meaning of pretya is when we transcend the body consciousness. That is, we are not deha abhimani. That is, for a knower, he is not the deha abhimani. He is not identifying with the body-mind personality. So it can be used in that also. In Brihadaranyaka it has been used in that meaning. So both meanings can be applied. Now when you apply the pretya in the sense of when the body falls, that is after death, then it means some objective result also. Because they were doing the yaga, jajna, etc., thinking that after death I will go to this heaven, that heaven, otherwise I may go to this hell or that hell to save that I am doing some yaga, jajna. So they were linking some objective result which is not verifiable. Nothing, nobody has gone to the heaven and said that you come and see, here you come, I am already here. It cannot be verified, it cannot be disproved also. So for them, those who are doing the yaga, jajna with the vasana of after death vasana, something, for them that also will be there. Why they are saying that also will be there? They believe in the after death, all those things. And if they have done the yaga correctly and he starts thinking that I will go to the highest heaven and all. For him, it is affecting his mind. That means the result of the karma, it is affecting in his lifetime itself. Or if he has done something wrong, then he will be worried about, oh, will I be fried in oil, going to the hell, like that. So he starts suffering or enjoying right then about thinking about the phala. So for them, these phalas are there in objective sense also. But for the sannyasins, it is not there. Because sannyasis are not bothered out. First of all, they are not doing the yaga yajna in the sense of with the kama. The Vedic yaga yajnas are done provided you desire that heaven. Those who do not have the desire for the heaven, why should they do? They will not do. Moreover, whatever actions they are doing, they are not worried about the phala because they are doing niyata karma, whatever is guided by their viveka, whatever has to be done, they are doing. The result will sometimes be good, sometimes be bad, sometimes will be the mix of two. That will not affect their mindset or their anything to do with they are not affected by anything. This is the meaning. Today I will, the same thing I will recapitulate in another manner. Yesterday I showed all the diagrams and all. Today I will not show that. It is another way, proceeding in another way of recapitulation. It will consolidate your knowledge more. See, whenever we prepare these slides, it is meant for some people. So every time I address, suppose this is meant for some school student or college student or the corporate people. Each time I have to remake some words and some other things, collections, etc. And that is a different approach in each case. See, I will go fast, not like yesterday because it is already done. The vision of Bhagavad Gita. Instead of abandoning activities, make actions an instrument for liberation. We have already discussed. If you have any question, you can ask. Yesterday we have discussed. That is, actions normally bind us because we are linking our Kartri Bhoktri Bhava with the result. That is how we are getting bound. Now, for that, if you leave the actions, then your mind is not getting purified. You are losing that opportunity of purifying your mind, getting rid of the Sangha and the Kartri Bhoktri Bhava of the mind. So, Bhagavad Gita says you do the activity but change your mindset. The activities don't leave. Same actions you perform, but change your mental attitude with which you are performing. Attitude has to be changed in the manner that instead of creating bondage, the same action will create liberation for you. How? It will purify your mind when you change the attitude. Is it clear? Next. Can there be any action not motivated by desire? Desire motivated actions, the root cause of bondage. Now here I have cited the shlokas corresponding to that. Number is given. I will not go deep into the shlokas. It is this case, it was in reply to Arjuna's question that atha kena prayuktoyam papam charati purushaha anicchan iva varshneya baladiva niyojitaha. That even if we don't want to do anything constricted, selfish or so, why are we led to do it? Why are we forced to do it? That was Arjuna's question. Atha kena prayuktoyam. By forced by what? That we are ending up doing wrong things, or papam means not always in the sin sense. Papam means whatever constricts our mind is papam. In the religious case, it is the sinful act. And punya means it is a virtuous act. But for a spiritual seeker, both papa and punya are papa, because both will constrict our minds. Even if we do something virtuous, if you have corresponding ego that I have done something great, I have done something good, it is papa. So it will constrict your mind. So papa means whatever constricts our mind. We don't want to do it because we naturally, whenever we enjoy a broad mindset or a liberal mindset, we know that it is very comfortable. But still we stick to some constricted behavior, hurting behavior, etc. He is asking, how does it happen? So the Krishna's reply is, Kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhava. It is originating from the rajoguna, it is kama, and kama leads to krodha. That is why they have used singular, Kama esha krodha esha. Thereafter krodha is eliminated because kama will lead to krodha. They have not talked about it. Next. Understanding bondage. This we did yesterday. Sangha or mental clinging creates desires. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu upajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha Kamat krodho vijayate. This we discussed yesterday. So we will go to the next. Removing Sangha. He says, Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samobhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. This is a definition of yoga in Bhagavad Gita. Samatvam yoga uchyate. And what is that? Samatva means siddhya, asiddhi, evenness in siddhi and asiddhi. So any action you do, removing the sangha, that means being established in yoga. That is what we were discussing yesterday, that in meditation you are having the yoga, but in the interactive state also you have to get your buddhi anchored in yoga. Now, yogastha kuru karmani, when they are saying, it is referring to an active state, not non-interactive state of meditation or so. When we are acting, do it established in yoga. How will you do? By anchoring the buddhi into the truth. That is, using the viveka buddhi, you do the action. Act being fixed in yoga, removing sangha. Sangha means clinging to kartri bhoktri bhava, the thought that I will be happy with the result of my action. Next. Take refuge in yoga buddhi. Durena hyavaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddhau sharanam anmicha kripanaha phalahetavaha. He says that take refuge in your buddhi. What is that buddhi? Yoga buddhi. What is the yoga buddhi? Same as I said, viveka buddhi. That is, when the buddhi is anchored in the truth, it is the yoga buddhi. You take to that. If you do thinking of enjoying the result and with the ego of performing the action, then you will be the kripanaha. That means you will be constricted. Your mind will be constricted. You will not have the fulfillment. Desire motivated action is far inferior to buddhi yoga. Those who act clinging to gains and happiness remain constricted. Next. Abandoning results. This also we have done. Karmajam buddhi yukta hi phalam tyaktva manishinaha janma bandha vinirmuktaha padam gacchanti anamayam. The shloka we have not done here this time. Acting with yoga buddhi, renouncing the results. Now, I am saying renouncing the results, but you have to remember it doesn't mean the objective result. It means the inner result. The wise attains immortality, transcending worldliness. The whole Bhagavad Gita is repeatedly emphasizing this yoga buddhi, yoga buddhi. People refer to as karma yoga. And many say that I am doing karma yoga. Actually, what they are doing is karma, not karma yoga. Doing lot of action, activities is not at all karma yoga. The whole karma yoga lies in the yoga buddhi, doing the action with the yoga buddhi. So the emphasis is shifted from the action to the yoga buddhi with which we will do the action. So it is karma yoga means doing everything with the yoga buddhi. Even if you do nothing, do nothing with the yoga buddhi, then also it will be karma yoga. Akarma yoga also you can say, but it is the same thing. The main focus is on the yoga buddhi, not on the action you are doing. Even killing a war, you are killing everybody and sometimes taking recourse to not so much straightforward ways also. But through that, what are you doing? Your mind is not on that, by that I will enjoy the kingdom and I will become the king and all those things. If that was Arjuna's mindset in the beginning, he mentioned that Ahovata mahat papam kattum vyavasita vayam yad rajya sukha lovena hantum svajana udyataha. That we are going to perform a greatest sin, mahat papam. What is that? For rajya sukha lobha, we are going to kill our grandfather, most beloved grandfather, respected teacher, and our kith and kin. For what? Rajya sukha lobha. That was the sangha in his mind. And the whole Bhagavad Gita is to free him of that mindset. Next. Abandoning results. Abandoning result of karma in Bhagavad Gita does not refer to the external result. External result follows causality. It is abandoning the internal result, the preferential disposition of the mind that I will be happy only with the favorable result. Is it clear? We have been discussing every day. Next. This is what we are. What is this? See, everything we do thinking that by gaining the result I will become happy. But have you seen anybody becoming happy by doing anything in the world? The richest person in the world, the most famous person in the world, the most righteous person in the world also. Whatever they have done, by that have they become fulfilled? Still we will go on thinking that I will get the carrot. The carrot is kept in the manner that as the donkey runs towards the carrot will be always equidistant. So our fulfillment will remain equidistant, we will only become tired and tired. And those who are intelligent, they will put some luggage on us and get the luggage transported. Luggage of grandchildren also. Those who are doing babysitting. You have to understand that I am carrying the luggage, but not for the carrot. Then it is fine. And keep it down whenever it is the time to keep it down. Keep it down. That's all. Samatva, even-minded towards success, failure, gain, loss, sukha, dukkha. This I explained that actually you work from joy, not for joy. The moment I said that actually we think that the fulfillment desire will make us happy. But actually it is the desire which makes us unhappy. And the moment we are able to eliminate the desire, we are happy. So eliminating the desire when we work, it is not that after completion of the project I will get some result and then I will become happy. It is by eliminating that desire, sangha, kartritva, bhoktritva, we are immediately, the mind becomes placid. Immediately we are in the joy. And from that joy we do. Whatever comes we do, whatever to be done we do. So we work not for joy, but from joy. These are already I have explained. The different key two is yajna bhavana, that is the yajna attitude. Yajnathat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangaha samachara. This I have explained. That whatever karma you are doing, do it with the attitude of yajna, that is as an offering to the Lord or removing your ego and bhogecha also. If you do otherwise, it will always bind you. Karma bandhanaha anyatra. Tat artham karma kaunteya. Tadartham means do it not for madartham but tadartham. Here tat means the truth. Madartham means for selfish gain, personal gain, for happiness. Instead of madartham, do the work as tadartham. Ishwararpitam nechaya kritam. That is for the ultimate truth or for the ultimate goal, whatever you can say. Don't do it madartham, that is the meaning. Mukta sangaha samachara. This sangha elimination itself is the liberation there. Actions not performed with yajna attitude create bondage. Act being free of sangha. Consider your actions to be part of the universal yajna of the Lord. Next. Sharanagati or surrender. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigata jvaraha. This I have not explained, but what he is saying is Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya. That is, whatever actions you are doing, you leave it to me as an offering to me, leave it to me. Now, Krishna is no longer to take your karmani. Krishna is saying Mai sarvani karmani. Actually, Mai, whenever Krishna has referred to himself, he has referred to because he has pinned his identity to the real identity, which is the universal identity. Whenever he said that you do it to me, you come to me, he attains me, he is referring to that real identity, that he will attain that real. Attain me means what? Krishna in the body is not available now. Whatever he refers to me is that real identity which is true of all of us, for all of us, universal identity. So it means that it is referring to our true identity also. So, Mayi Sarvani Karmani means whatever we are doing, we have to offer it to the reality in us. That means which is not tarnished or touched or tainted by our bhogecha and kartritva and bhoktritva. What does it mean? That means we do everything keeping the buddhi anchored in the truth. Same again, Viveka Buddhi. Everywhere it comes to the same thing. For that, what we have to do? Nirashir nirmamo bhutva. Nirashihi means not desiring anything. Asha, not having any asha means desiring anything. Nirmamo means not having any mamatva means possessiveness. You may possess the whole world also, but the possessiveness creates the problem. It is not the possession. You may have 5 buildings also, but the possessiveness about anything that causes the problem. Even it is about a small thing also, it will cause the problem. Surrender all actions to me, being anchored in the inner truth. Hey, Adhyatma Chetasa, that Mayi Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya, Adhyatma Chetasa. What is Adhyatma Cheta? Chetasa means by being anchored in the inner truth. Adhyatma means the inner truth, our real identity. Being fixed to that. Fight, being freed of all expectations, possessiveness and depression. Vigata Jwaraha means depression. Next. How to surrender? Yata pravittir bhutanam yena sarvamidam tatam swakarmanatam abhyatya siddhim vindati manavaha. This will come in 18th chapter. That which pervades entire creation in all activities, worship that by your swakarma, not guided by desires, ego or ragadvesha. How do you offer, how do you surrender? Because you don't know whether God is there or not. He is not there for you to surrender. So how do you surrender? One thing is the easiest is to becoming desireless. The doing everything without desire means surrender. That is the ultimate. Otherwise, you can think of, as a sadhana when we are doing, we can think of that which is all pervading. Yata pravittir bhutani. From which actually our activity, we are always concentrated, self-centered. We are thinking that I am doing this, I am doing that. But can you compare that activity with the tremendous, unimaginable activity going on in the whole world? So, yata pravrittir bhutani means the whole, all the energy, all the activity is sourced by whom? From where it is coming? That truth. The whole universal activity is sustained by that truth, by that consciousness, by that Atma, by that Brahman. So, swakarmana tam abhyarcha. When we are thinking of that and doing our action, that my activity is only a small contribution to that universal activity. I don't have any personal gain for that or anything of that sort. It has to be done. It is part of the universal judgment of the Lord. Then it becomes surrendered.